All right. Welcome to today's workshop. That's all about how to tell your story. We're here to listen from and learn from Paul Salazar, who is the leading people's operation with a focus on talent, growth strategy, and immigration initiatives here at Skywatch. Paul, up to you.
Thanks, Maureen. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope for the participants things have gone well, and for the others, nice to see everyone. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm going to be as efficient and brief as possible, but I think it's important, as all of us embark on our own journeys, sometimes telling our story can be a challenge. I think it's one of these exercises that we don't often have a lot of practice with. And I think, if we use some theories like the 10,000 hour theory, we spend a lot of time with our craft. We spend a lot of time refining our skill sets and the tools that we have in our toolbox, but we don't always spend a lot of time telling our story. And so I just want to share a couple of tips and tricks around things that I've experienced over time that I find very effective. So just to give you a quick background, it's almost somewhere around 15 years of work really focused on people, operations, recruitment, all of those sort of areas and the nuances in between where we as individuals are often either growing into something new, taking on a new challenge, maybe stepping into an area of unknown. And so often it becomes really, really important in how we tell our story. So I'm going to get right into it. For me, I really try and advise whenever possible, think about three things, only three. And I use this for myself. If I'm sitting across the table from someone, maybe it's an applicant or an employee, or I think about three pieces of how we tell our story. And I use a bit of an acronym, 3 L's, learn, led, and love. First of all, I want to know what you've learned. And whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, whether you're sort of at the cusp or twilight of your career, regardless, I'm really interested in what you've learned. And that is not necessarily just purely from an academic standpoint. I'm really curious about the learning experiences that you've had ongoing. I think that's really important to consider when we talk about learning. It is a continuum. It is not necessarily you passed the course or you got the certificate. It's ongoing. It is a continuum in your life. It is a continuum in your personal life, in your career. Think about what you've learned. Think about the challenges that come with learning. So often what I've found over time is that we look very closely at learning, not only to assess or to determine what's the new tool that you've added to your toolbox, or what's the new craft that you've refined, but it's also about what you've endured and the commitment that you've made to getting there, to crossing that finish line, to finishing that endeavor. I think that's really important, and it says a lot about someone's character. So think about that. Think about that in a broader context. I think that's important too. When we say learning, it's not purely academic. Think about it in a more complete or holistic way. Think about your learning. When I say led, I want to qualify that in that I'm not asking how much leadership you have under your belt managing people or budgets or programs or projects. Sometimes you lead initiatives. Sometimes you lead small things that can be very effective. But the important piece about leading is that, again, it's an initiative demonstration. There's a piece of courage that's involved in any kind of leadership. I don't care how big the project was. I don't care how important or how expensive or the parameters around the thing that you led is not necessarily the measure, but it's the commitment, it's the courage, and it's taking that kind of ownership. So I think it's important in context when we talk about, ownership is it's a common discussion. It's a common term that we use often when we talk about ourselves or we're exploring new things, our own personal growth. Ownership is not necessarily just about obtaining something. Sometimes it's just taking responsibility. And I think zooming out a little bit and thinking about the things, the initiatives, the plans, the projects, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, it's a great way to articulate some of the things that you have led in different parts of your life. All right. And the last one's, maybe it's more simple, but what do you love to do? And I think it's important, if I use a professional sort of environment and we're talking about maybe it's your next career move, or maybe you're a new graduate and you're embarking on your first endeavor. The person at the other side of the table, we have a good understanding of where you've come from. We probably have some information about you that you've shared or that we've obtained or that we've been told. But the piece that you love is probably the one that will resonate the most. So be prepared to talk about it. Be prepared to talk about the things that you love. Don't hesitate to share, even if it's not necessarily purely in relation to a job, for example, or a specific mandate or a specific project. The curiosity around what you love to do, around that passion that you have, really says a lot. We will see it, and I see it all the time. I can see the inflection in someone's voice. I can see the excitement in their eyes. It is a very transparent way to show from your own perspective. It's a transparent way to show that person or that team or whomever you're speaking with about what really drives you. And I think that sometimes we can get lost in documents, we can get lost in commentary, but talking about something that you're really excited about, something that you're really passionate about, you would be surprised how much it shows. So those are the three big things that I think are important when telling your story. I do like the commentary about zooming out, and it's not always exclusively about the intimate details relative to whomever you're speaking with or the opportunity that you're exploring. Remember that this is about you. Telling your story is about you. I have a couple of other tips that I should throw in there. And the first is practice. You need to practice. It is a very iterative process. You get better with more practice. And I will caution everyone, take the opportunity to have lots of conversations. If we're talking about, your growth and exploring something new, some new project, maybe it's working with a team here, developing your project or your app and what you're doing for this weekend. Don't hesitate to embark on those conversations and share what it is that you're all about. All of those opportunities, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, the opportunity to share those things and to get comfortable in talking about some of these more intimate details about yourself, it helps you get better. There's going to be moments where it's very, very critical. There will be moments in all of your lives where this is a critical piece, and this is game time. This is it. You got to deliver. You got to do your best. But taking that opportunity along the way, whenever that opportunity presents itself, think about those things that are important. Practice how you articulate. It's going to refine itself, and you're going to continue to develop and evolve over time. But be comfortable, and we get better and we get comfortable. The closer we get to those 10,000 hours. And I give these tips because I feel like in this particular instance, specifically talking about how we tell our story, we don't always have that opportunity. It is not something that we do over and over and over. So don't hesitate. Seize those opportunities when you have the chance to tell your story and to sort of share what things are important, what those highlights are, and yeah, it's going to get better. So I don't have too much more that I want to add. I'm happy to answer questions, or if someone has any commentary or things that maybe that they want to share that they do, tips and tricks that they might have. Yeah, it's really about sharing and offering some insights.